James Harden just called out Daryl Morey and the Philadelphia 76ers organization, and this can have huge implications on whether or not Joel Embiid is going to be sticking around for the long haul in Philadelphia and whether or not he could end up in a New York Knicks jersey very soon. We're going to talk about it. Welcome to Knicks Digest. My name is Chris, and this is an exciting topic because we're talking about the MVP of the NBA potentially joining the New York Knicks. Now, by now, a lot of us have probably seen that James Harden absolutely called out the 76ers front office in front of a live audience on film, meaning this guy does not care at all who sees it. He knows Daryl Morey sees it. Him and Morey's relationship has probably been messed up for a while now if he's willing to do this. That's not something does at a spur of the moment decision. And this is really interesting because if Harden is doing this, it is showing that the 76ers have a horrendous vibe and that no one is going to be having a great time in Philly anytime soon with stuff like this coming out of their front office. And this could directly lead to Joel Embiid demanding a trade where the New York Knicks are not only one of the best suitors, but one of the teams best suited to land the MVP of the NBA. Now, here's essentially what we know about this situation so far. What we know is that James Harden is no longer on the trading block. He's going to be at training camp with the 76ers, or well, he'll be on the 76ers during training camp because we do not know if he's going to be playing. It sounds like he's going to hold out, do what Kawhi Leonard and what Ben Simmons have done. And Ben Simmons did that on the Philadelphia 76ers. Meaning now the last two guys to do this were members of the Philadelphia 76ers. If you're Joel Embiid, you're going to have some problems with this. It makes Ben Simmons look a whole lot better, and it makes the 76ers look a whole lot worse. Embiid is playing through all of this. He's constantly had these huge loads put on him, and he now is in a situation where not only will he not have James Harden, he will not have anyone to replace James Harden, so he's going to have to take on an extra workload while he's had a history with injuries. This is not a good look for Philly, and more importantly, Joel Embiid is clearly very loyal, but how long does that really last when your team cannot put a contender around you because every time you get an all-star player, they either leave, like what happened with Jimmy Butler, which is not his fault. It's the 76ers' fault for really not bringing him back. And as Butler said, Tobias Harris over me. Yes, giving Tobias Harris that contract and not giving a contract to Jimmy Butler. And then Ben Simmons obviously holding out. So let's talk about it. Is Embiid going to request a trade? Is that possible that Embiid could be requesting a trade? If he does, I don't think he's going to do this a few years down the line. I think this is happening soon. I think if Joel Embiid really wants to leave Philadelphia, it's not going to have anything to do with the city of Philadelphia, but the sheer fact that the 76ers have failed him. Embiid has been an MVP level player for a few years. If you ask me, he should have won that first MVP over Jokic, though I do understand it. Embiid missed 3 weeks due to injury, and then Jokic played like a monster, so it's fine. But Embiid is someone who's constantly been in the running for MVP. He finally won it. He's had tremendous averages. If you look at these stats, it's stunning that a man can do this. 33 points per game, 10 rebounds, 4 assists as a scoring center, almost 2 blocks per game, a steal, shooting 33% from 3, and obviously 55% from the field. These numbers, they're monstrous. I can't even explain how insane it is that there's a guy like this who's this good who could be on the trading block, especially when you consider the Knicks have some of the most assets in the league outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder. They can go out there and give a package that'll make the 76ers good. They can surround it around Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett, and basically every pick that you can give to put Joel Embiid in the Knicks jersey. Imagine Joel Embiid in Madison Square Garden. Embiid is not a reserved guy. He's not holding his emotions back. He plays with his heart on his sleeve. MSG will eat that up. Look at how we took in Brunson, who's pretty stoic all the time. Embiid's not. He's rallying his home crowds. He's making the the opposing fans angry. He gets to people, whether it's positively or negatively. It depends on if you're rooting for his team. Imagine Joel Embiid in a rivalry game, say against the Boston Celtics or the Brooklyn Nets or the Miami Heat, and he's just upsetting the opposing center. He's getting to the fans. The Knicks fans are going to be all over these players. He is going to electrify the Garden. It would make them so much better. This is a move that I would love. And I think the Knicks can realistically pull it off. If anyone can, it's probably the Knicks. I mean, realistically think about this. Who else would trade for Joel Embiid right now who really makes sense to? The Thunder have the assets, but it doesn't really make sense. And Embiid probably would not stick around in Oklahoma City for a team that's very young, despite the fact that Shea is an excellent player. He's really tremendous, probably top 10 in the NBA. But that team has a whole young thing going. And then outside of that, you know Daryl Morey. We know how he operates. The man is going to get as much as he can. Look at what the Nets gave up for James Harden. It was so many picks, so many pick swaps. Around 4 players, one of them being Jared Allen, who's been an all-star since then. Like, Morey will wait also. We saw with Ben Simmons, he turned Ben Simmons, who was angry and was coming off some of the worst basketball he had ever played, and turned him into James Harden, using Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and a little bit of draft capital. It's so impressive what that guy can do. It's worrisome as a fan of the other team, but we do know that Leon Rose is a very similar type of guy when it comes to that. And we also know that Leon Rose and Joel Embiid have a good relationship because before Leon Rose became the president of the Knicks, do you guys want to guess who Joel Embiid had as an agent? It was Daryl Morey. It's right there. The connection is there. It's a guy who fits New York's vibe and has prior CAA connections. We know Leon Rose is about his CAA guys, such as Julius Randle, such as Jalen Brunson. He can now add in Joel Embiid. The only guy who's making a ton of money for the Knicks who isn't CAA right now is RJ Barrett, who has been in trade talks. This adds up. I'm not saying it's going to happen because it would be ridiculous to come on here and say James Harden complained about something and is no longer going to play for the 76ers. That means Joel Embiid is a lock to play in New York. But it helps. It helps that, as Posting and Toasting recently said in an article coming from a 76ers beat writer, that Joel Embiid has a house in New York, and he's had this for a while. He loves New York. He's close to it. He lives in Philly. Like, during the season, he's in a city that's 2 hours away without traffic, which if you live anywhere near New York, you know there's always traffic everywhere, so it's like 3 hours. But it's the same thing. Doesn't matter. Embiid's rich. He's taking private jets places. And he could realistically end up in New York. These connections are here. I would say he's probably got the most connections with New York as he would with any other team. If he doesn't have better connections with the Knicks. Like, sure, he has player relationships with guys around the league because the stars are usually close with each other. But, I mean, that also accounts for the Knicks. The last time the Knicks and the 76ers played, we saw Joel Embiid and Julius Randle hug and laugh because they're close. They're friends. These connections are here. And I know this is pure speculation because we still need to hear Joel Embiid request the trade, and that's not going to be an easy thing for the guy to do. He has given everything he's had to the 76ers organization, but there's only so much loyalty you can have. We've seen it now with Damian Lillard, who gave everything he had to Portland, and now he's asking out. He's also asking to go to the Miami Heat, a very specific team. We don't know. Maybe Embiid will do that. Will Daryl Morey care? Absolutely not. But what we did see in that Woj tweet is that the Clippers and the 76ers directly talked James Harden deals, meaning Morey is aware that the best offer he's going to get is from whatever team or teams the player requests to go to. So, obviously, it's a lot to say, well, if Joel Embiid requests a trade, and if he requests a trade specifically to the Knicks, this could happen, maybe. I know, it's a stretch. But I would guess, and obviously I'm biased if you can't tell by my outfit and the team that I'm talking about, but if I had to guess, if Joel Embiid were to leave Philadelphia, and I can guarantee you that Joel Embiid would rather build a contender on the 76ers, but if he were to leave Philadelphia, I would be stunned if the Knicks are not the number one team on his list. All of the connections are there. The CAA connection. He's friends with Julius Randle. He knows Jalen Brunson. He's so close there that he won't have to uproot his growing family. A lot of it makes sense that he would want to go to the Knicks. The big drawback is that we know Daryl Morey will take whatever best offer he can get and that he'll drag it out and make the Knicks probably try to give some absurd package similarly to what happened with the Donovan Mitchell saga last summer. But Embiid's got power. He has a lot more power than Donovan Mitchell does. And I would guess that if Joel Embiid were to request the trade and someone were to ask him, where would you want to go? He would say the New York Knicks. And I think that's a good point to end this on. Again, obviously pure speculation. We would need Embiid to request the trade. But if I were to guess, I think he will be requesting a trade soon. Harden does not have enough value that you could rebuild a star team around that 76ers group. They look like they're really gunning down the road towards rebuild, which would probably mean the end of Morey's tenure there. Morey wants to control teams that are contending currently, but he would also probably want to pull off an Embiid trade just to give the 76ers a great package, just to show something on his resume. However, I do think this is possible. If the Knicks were to go out there and land a superstar player, bet on it to be Joel Embiid. They're certainly looking, because if they already have all these connections, they're totally looking, and they know way more than we do. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening to my rant on the Knicks maybe, possibly, potentially landing Joel Embiid. But I do think if anyone is to land Joel Embiid soon, it's the New York Knicks. And on that note, we'll end it. Make sure to like and subscribe. And as you guys know, I talk to the players telepathically. Joel Embiid said that the chances of him going to the Knicks will slightly increase with every single like and subscribe that you guys give us. So make sure to subscribe to Knicks Digest. We have great videos like this coming constantly. We all can't wait for the season, so we really want to give some Knicks content to hold us over till then. Comment down below on stuff you'd like to see me talk about, and we'll catch you next time on the Knicks Digest. Have a great day.